everyone. It's Claudia, and welcome to Take a Moment to dot dot dot. And that does represent the new topic that I bring to you each week that I hope will inspire and encourage you to pause for a moment, think about what I'm saying, and maybe even put it into tweaked perspective and apply it to everyday life. I come to you each week completely dependent on the Lord, trusting that He's going to show up and show off. I show up trusting that He will. This is fairly new for me. I've been doing this podcast a little over 2 years now. And when I started, I was so stuck in looking up scriptures, being so disciplined and so prepared that I wasn't really enjoying myself. But I was praying that the message got through. And then, well, about a year in, the Lord said, "Stop preparing, just show up." And I just, oh no. So I sort of did. But then a few months ago, He made it very clear to me, "I just want you to show up." He normally will give me a topic just as I sit at the computer, and then I'll just start talking and trust Him to fill my mouth to bless you. There are times He will notice, which He did this week. He did it last week too. So maybe in May, it's hard to break old habits. So, he'll download a scripture to me and I'll quickly look it up because if I quote it as I'm speaking, I want to make sure I quote it correctly because I can paraphrase scripture a lot. I have a lot of scripture in me. I'm thanking you for joining me. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Take a Moment to dot dot dot, and on podcast stations such as Apple and Spotify. If you're new, welcome. If you've been with me for a while, I thank you for being with me each week. I pray each week blesses you. And I'm asking that you would like, subscribe, and share. That would help me grow the channel, and it would also bring the message further to those who possibly don't know that I'm here. So, thank you for being with me. And here we go. This week is take a moment to vent. Yeah. To be perfectly candid, I've been kind of in a venting mode the last few days. And venting comes from the analogy of letting off steam. Think about a pressure cooker. You have to untwist the valve to let the steam out when the food is cooking. Otherwise, there'll be an explosion. There goes dinner, the kitchen, and everything else. So it's very dangerous not to let the steam valve open and let the steam out. So it's the same thing with when we need to vent. We need to let off steam. Something bothers us. We get upset. We get angry. But there are ways to vent. Okay. Now, I live life and I do this podcast based on biblical principles. Now, biblically, we can vent. Okay, we can. We're supposed to be slow to anger. That's a scripture. But God gave us emotions. God has emotions. God gets angry. God got angry. It's documented in the Bible. But there are ways to vent. And even King David vented. And I think Psalm 51 is he's before the Lord, prostrate before the Lord. He's crying out to him. He's venting. But as I said, there are ways to vent. I myself, um, what I do is I will vent to the Lord. Yeah, I used to think I couldn't do that because I figured if I did, God would, strike me down with a bolt of lightning because I shouldn't do that. I should be above all of that. Well, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I was sitting on my sofa, and that's kind of my quiet place with the Lord. And I was frustrated. I was angry. And I just literally said to the Lord, "Talk to the hand. I don't want to talk. Leave me alone." Because I felt He was tapping me and wanted to spend time. Well, after about 3 days, I got past it and said, "I'm so sorry. Please forgive me." Well, of course He forgives me. God has broad shoulders. We put God in a box and we make Him this angry God. I used to do it all the time, especially when I was in a denomination growing up, that it was God, feared God. I was so disciplined from parents, from nuns and priests, that I thought God was the same way. And He was an angry God and always angry at me, but He's not. He is loving. He is all consuming love. But in love, there can be chastening and discipline and teaching. I mean, that's as parents, they have to exercise those things to our children so they grow up and know how to vent properly. So, what, and as I said, I vent to the Lord. That's me. But also, we should have people in our lives that we trust, that know that if we need to vent, we're not going off the deep end, we're not falling apart. We just need to let off steam. And let that be a spouse, a pair, a family member, sister, brother, friend, whatever. But they're there to encourage, or there to listen. Just let us get past it. Let us let off steam and vent. The critical thing is we have to get past it. The purpose, like the steam will dissipate into the air. So should our venting. So should our like moments of anger. Because if we hold on to that anger, that frustration, it will affect us negatively. It can cause us to be unforgiving at whoever got us to that level of frustration. It can cause us to uh, hold on to anger, and holding on to anger will cause us to have dis-ease, which is not good. We'll be uncomfortable. We'll be out of sorts, out of alignment. But it can also cause disease in the body and affect our health. But also, if we hold on to things, it can cause bitterness and unforgiveness, which again will settle into the body, and it will cause things that are not healthy for us going forward. So the important thing is to let go of it once we vent and let the steam out. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed it. Walking around anywhere we go, I go, people are like having these tirades and screaming Mimi fits, and in a very inappropriate way, in very inappropriate places. And it can be unsettling, it can be frightening. We don't know what triggered them. We don't know where they're going to go with it. Can they become violent? There are, as I said, there are ways to vent, and that is not it. Being in a public forum affecting other people. And I mean, there are children around. And one of the things that is kind of a bee in my bonnet, which I'm going to vent a little bit about right now, is when people vent and they go into these tirades and they start getting, um, oh gosh, what's the word I want to use? They spout and they spew. They will use a lot of profanity and dropping F-bombs, you name it, cursing people out, whatever it is, they're going full throttle. And I personally find it offensive. And years ago, when I was doing some volunteer work at a school in the LA USD district, and I was going to help a young girl from El Salvador to English as a second language. And I would have to walk through the courtyard to get to the classroom. And these are middle schoolers. What are they, 11, 12 years old? The filth that was coming out of their mouths. I mean, fin this, effing that, talking about teachers that way, other students, parents, you name it. I was mortified. So why I mean, these are our children, and we need to be examples. And if we are spewing this kind of filth, then they're going to pick it up and express themselves that way. And we are then choosing to live in the gutter. Shouldn't we be setting examples and raise the standard of how we express ourselves? And what I learned a few years ago, I haven't checked recently, but the Merriam-Webster dictionary, unabridged dictionary, has 470,000 words, and maybe more now or whatever. But the F-bomb was not a word in that dictionary. It was too vile. They said F-bomb, but they didn't say what the F-bomb was. Um, so if it's too vile to put in the dictionary, there are 470,000 other words that we can use to express ourselves. So, do we get angry? Absolutely. Do we let things fly? Absolutely. We're human, we get angry. But the critical thing is not to make it such an acceptable form of expression that we can't express ourselves in an intelligent way. And when I look at our leaders today, politicians, either side, it doesn't matter, accepting that this is the way we should be talking and this is the way it's accepted, and people laugh and oh yeah, it's funny. I'm offended. I'm personally offended by it. And I'm venting about it right now because I feel we are intelligent human beings. We've been given the gift of language. To be frank, literacy is my passion. I would teach children reading and English as a second language. I read books to children, all of that, because I want them to be raised up appreciating the language we have, appreciating ways to express themselves in a way that is literate and not in the gutter. So that's my little vent and rant on that one. And the other thing that has been kind of a bee in my bonnet that I've been venting to the Lord about is people who don't keep their word. I'm one of those. I give my word, I'm going to keep it, whether it's to someone else or to myself. And to me, that's paramount because, again, we need to be examples, and our character speaks a lot. And if our character is such that we do not keep our word, that reflects really badly on us or the other person. So, my little vent today on that subject is be of good character, be upstanding, keep your word. And if you say you're going to do something, even if it's for yourself, and I'll use myself as an example, okay? I've made a commitment to myself for a lot of things, but 2 years ago, I made a commitment with a program to get healthy. And I tried for years and I finally found this. And I have stayed true to this. Are there ups and downs? Yes, I'm human. But I have very much kept my word to myself and to others as I'm now a health coach. I have to be an example. But I want to stay healthy. I want to be an example to others to be in that mode of making a commitment to themselves to be healthy. So keep your word to yourself and to others. It's important. Be an example. Um, and so those are my two little vents in this podcast about venting. It's okay to vent, but as I said, there are ways to do it. Don't tear people down. Don't curse them out. You don't want to curse loved ones. You don't want to even curse yourself. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So speak life even in a venting situation. Okay. So I encourage you this week and going forward, take a moment to vent.